You give your time to your job. You give your time to your family. You give your time to your phone, to your emails, to the endless noise of the world. But here's the question. When was the last time you gave even one uninterrupted hour to yourself? Not to scroll, not to respond, not to entertain, but to grow. Because 1 hour for yourself each day is not selfish. It's survival. It's the oxygen mask you put on before you can save anyone else. We live in a time where exhaustion has been rebranded as ambition. People wear their lack of sleep like a badge of honor, as if running themselves into the ground is proof of their value. But here's the truth no one likes to say out loud. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are running on fumes, if your mind is cluttered and your body is screaming for rest, you are not showing strength. You are running on borrowed time. Eventually, the bill comes due. That 1 hour for yourself is not indulgence. It's maintenance. It's the moment you stop everything and give your mind, body, and spirit the fuel they need to keep going. Without it, your so-called grind will end up grinding you into dust. When you give yourself that hour, you're making a powerful declaration, I matter too. Not just my deadlines, not just my responsibilities, not just my never-ending to-do list, but me. Because no matter how much you achieve, if you're constantly drained, you will never experience the fullness of what life can offer. Energy is the currency of achievement. You can have the greatest vision, the smartest strategy, the most detailed plan, but without energy, it all stays locked in your mind. That 1 hour is where you regenerate the power to make those ideas real. You aren't taking from your life when you take that time. You are extending it, expanding it, and elevating it. Think about the way most people live. They wake up, rush through a morning that feels more like a battlefield than a beginning, spend the day reacting to other people's needs, and then collapse into bed feeling like they've been in a fight they never chose. And then they repeat it, day after day, until it becomes their identity. But when you carve out that 1 hour for yourself, just 1 hour, you break the cycle, you insert a pause in the chaos. In that pause, you can breathe, think, and reclaim control. You're no longer just surviving the day. You're owning it. That's a radical shift, and it's available to anyone who is willing to guard that time like their life depends on it. Because it does. The truth is, people will always have demands. There will always be a meeting, a crisis, an urgent call, an unexpected request. And if you wait for a free moment to take time for yourself, it will never come. That's why this hour is a choice, not a gift from the universe. You have to take it. You have to defend it. You have to see it as non-negotiable. And yes, people might not understand at first. They might call you selfish. But that's because they're used to getting the tired, distracted, half-present version of you. When you commit to this hour, they'll eventually see the shift. Your energy will rise. Your clarity will sharpen. Your mood will lift. And they'll realize they're benefiting from it too. Some people think they're fine without this hour because they've learned to function while depleted. They've normalized running on adrenaline, caffeine, and willpower. But functioning is not thriving. Functioning is survival mode. And survival mode is not where dreams are built. When you are constantly depleted, your creativity is muted, your patience is thin, and your vision is clouded. That's why burnout sneaks up on people. It's not a sudden collapse. It's a slow fade. That 1 hour a day acts as your personal recharge station, keeping you from slipping into that dangerous zone where you can no longer hear your own thoughts over the noise. And here's what's most important. When you fill your cup, you don't just do it for you. You do it for everyone who depends on you. Because the world does not need the version of you that is running on autopilot. It needs the version that is alive, alert, and fully engaged. Your relationships benefit. Your work benefits. Your health benefits. And you finally get to experience what it feels like to live from a place of abundance instead of scarcity. That hour each day is the ultimate act of responsibility, not just to yourself, but to the life you are building. It's not about escape. It's about empowerment. You're not stepping away from your life when you take that hour. You're stepping into the best version of it. That 1 hour you take for yourself each day is not just time. It's identity work. Because the truth is, your identity isn't shaped in the chaos of answering emails or rushing to meet other people's deadlines. It's shaped in the quiet, intentional moments where you decide who you are becoming. Most people never pause long enough to ask themselves, who am I outside of what I do for others? And because they never ask, they wake up one day realizing they've been living someone else's life. That single hour is where you reclaim the blueprint of your future. It's where you step away from the noise and pick up the pen to write your own story. Every single choice you make during that hour is a declaration of self. When you choose to read instead of scroll, you're saying, I am someone who grows. When you choose to journal instead of watch another episode, you're saying, I am someone who reflects. When you choose to work on your fitness instead of hitting snooze, you're saying, I am someone who values health and discipline. These small choices don't just fill the hour. They build the foundation of the person you are becoming. And the person you are becoming will dictate every outcome in your life. That's why this hour is so critical. Because it's the only space in your day where you are deliberately crafting your identity instead of passively absorbing the world's definition of you. Without that sacred time, you risk living as a mirror, reflecting the needs, opinions, and expectations of everyone else around you. Your personality becomes a reaction, not a creation. You're no longer steering your life. You're just responding to where the current pushes you. And while you might be achieving things on paper, inside you feel disconnected, restless, even lost. That's because your identity is not self-authored. It's borrowed. That hour for yourself is the antidote. It's where you strip away the noise and reconnect with what you believe, what you want, and who you are determined to be. Without it, you'll spend years building a life that looks good to others, but feels empty to you. In that 1 hour, you have the rare opportunity to be intentional about the person you're sculpting. Think about it like training a muscle. Every day you invest in that hour, you're training your identity to be stronger, clearer, more resilient. You start making choices that align with your vision, not just your circumstances. And over time, the gap between who you are and who you want to be starts closing. People will notice. They'll sense something different about you. An unshakable confidence, a grounded presence, a clarity that makes others stop and listen. That's the result of consistent, intentional self-identity work. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens in the space you protect for yourself. This hour also protects you from the trap of defining yourself solely through your roles. You are not just a job title. You are not just a parent, a partner, a friend. Those roles are important, but they are not the entirety of you. When you devote time to your personal growth, you remind yourself and the world that you exist beyond what you can do for others. You're more than a provider, more than a problem solver, more than a list of responsibilities. You are a human being with dreams, potential, and a unique identity that deserves cultivation. And if you don't take time to build that identity, life will assign you one by default. And here's the truth. When you strengthen your identity in that hour, you strengthen every role you play outside of it. You become a better leader because you lead from authenticity, not insecurity. You become a better partner because you're bringing a whole, fulfilled person into the relationship. You become a better creator because your ideas are rooted in self-truth, not borrowed perspectives. This is the paradox. The more you focus on becoming your fullest self, the more valuable you become to others. And it all starts in that one sacred hour where you stop being who the world expects you to be and start being who you were meant to be. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers most people never hear. In a world that's constantly screaming for your attention, silence has become rare, almost unnatural. We've been trained to fill every gap with noise. Music in the background, notifications buzzing, a podcast while driving, TV playing while we eat. But when you strip it all away, when you sit in one uninterrupted hour without distraction, something shifts. You start hearing the voice that matters most, your own. It's the voice that tells you what you truly want, what you truly fear, and what you've been avoiding. Without that silence, you risk living your life according to the loudest voices around you, never realizing that the quietest voice inside you was the one holding the truth all along. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It sharpens your focus like a blade. When you create that 1 hour of stillness, your mind stops running in circles and starts running in straight lines. Problems that once felt tangled suddenly unravel. Decisions that once felt heavy become lighter. Your brain finally has the space to process, prioritize, and plan. That's because clarity doesn't live in chaos, it lives in calm. And yet, most people keep drowning themselves in noise, mistaking activity for progress. They don't realize that without silence, they're just spinning faster on the same wheel, never moving forward. That hour of quiet is not wasted time. It's the most productive investment you can make. When you commit to this silence, you break your addiction to constant stimulation. Most people don't even realize they're addicted. They can't sit in a room without reaching for their phone. They can't drive without music. They can't eat without a screen in front of them. They've trained themselves to fear their own thoughts. But the moment you choose silence, you begin to detox from that dependency. At first, it feels uncomfortable, almost restless. But then, something clicks. Your mind, no longer bombarded with information, begins to open. Creativity flows. Insights emerge. You start seeing connections and solutions that were invisible in the noise. Silence becomes not just a pause in your day, it becomes your greatest competitive edge. Silence also strengthens your emotional control. In the noise, emotions flare. You react quickly, sometimes impulsively, because you're constantly overstimulated. But when you practice spending time in silence, you build the capacity to respond instead of react. You begin to observe your thoughts and feelings without being consumed by them. You notice patterns in your thinking. You identify triggers that drain your energy. You learn to step back, breathe, and choose your next move with intention. In a world where everyone is rushing to speak, silence teaches you the power of waiting, listening, and speaking only when your words can actually shift the room. In that one quiet hour, You also reconnect with the parts of yourself you've been neglecting. Maybe it's a passion you set aside years ago. Maybe it's a dream you buried because life got too busy. Or maybe it's simply the joy of being present without needing to document or share it with anyone. Silence gives you back to yourself. And when you come out of that hour, you carry a different energy. Calm, steady, grounded. People can feel it. They trust it. They're drawn to it. You become a source of stability in a world that's constantly spinning. And that's because silence doesn't just calm the noise around you. It strengthens the core within you. The most powerful part of silence is that it doesn't demand permission. You don't need anyone to give it to you. You take it. You protect it. You own it. And once you've experienced its impact, you will fight to keep it. Because silence is not the absence of life. It's the amplifier of it. It's in those 60 quiet minutes that you can finally hear the plans, the ideas, the visions that will shape your future. It's in that silence that you remember who you are and where you're going. And once you've tasted that clarity, you'll never trade it for noise again. Spending 1 hour for yourself every single day is a test of discipline. It sounds simple, but the moment you commit to it, you realize how fiercely the world will fight for that time. Life will throw distractions at you, urgent messages, sudden requests, a never-ending stream of just one quick thing from others. The truth is, the moment you set a boundary, everything around you will try to break it. And yet, the ability to defend that 1 hour is what separates those who wish from those who achieve. Discipline is not built in the easy moments. It's built when you protect your priorities in the face of constant temptation to abandon them. That 1 hour becomes more than just personal time. It becomes proof. Proof that you can set a goal and keep it. Proof that you can put yourself first without guilt. Proof that you have the strength to say no to everything that doesn't serve your growth. Every day you honor that commitment. You're strengthening a muscle that most people neglect, the ability to consistently show up for yourself. And once you've proven to yourself that you can keep that one promise, you start realizing you can keep bigger ones. If you can defend 60 minutes, you can defend your dreams. If you can stay committed to one small act, you can stay committed to the big, life-changing ones. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it's about restriction, about making life harder. But real discipline is freedom. When you practice the discipline of setting aside 1 hour for yourself, you free yourself from the chaos of living at the mercy of other people's schedules. You free yourself from the anxiety of constantly feeling behind. You free yourself from the regret of knowing you could have done more, but didn't. That freedom comes at a cost. It demands consistency, even on days when you don't feel like it. But the payoff is immeasurable. You stop being a prisoner to the day's demands and start becoming the architect of your time. There will be days when you don't want to show up for that hour. Days when you're tired, overwhelmed, or simply tempted to push it aside. Just this once. But that's exactly when it matters most. Discipline isn't tested when it's convenient. It's tested when it's inconvenient. And if you can push through those moments, you're not just building the habit. You're building the version of yourself who doesn't quit at the first sign of resistance. Over time, this spills into every area of your life. You start showing up to workouts when you're tired, finishing projects when you're uninspired, and having tough conversations instead of avoiding them. That hour trains you to be relentless. The discipline to protect your hour also reshapes your relationship with time. You stop saying, "I don't have time," and start realizing, "I make time for what matters." That mindset shift is transformative. You begin to see that most of the things stealing your hours are not necessities. They're distractions disguised as urgency. You start cutting them out without apology. And with each distraction you remove, you gain more control over your life. People may not understand at first. They might even push back. But eventually, they'll adjust to the new boundaries you've set. And more importantly, you'll adjust to the new standard you've set for yourself. Discipline in 1 hour a day doesn't just create better days. It creates a better you. It's the quiet, consistent act of self-respect that compounds over time into unshakable self-belief. You stop waiting for motivation because you've learned to move without it. You stop relying on willpower alone because discipline has become your default mode. And while the rest of the world is still making excuses, you're building results. Brick by brick, day by day, hour by hour, that one small, protected window of time becomes the foundation for a life that is no longer built on chance, but on choice. When you invest in yourself, it's never just about you. People often think self-prioritization is selfish, but they fail to see the ripple effect it creates. The truth is, when you elevate yourself, you elevate everyone around you. That 1 hour you spend on your mind, your health, your skill set, it changes the way you show up in every interaction. Your energy shifts. Your presence feels different. People start noticing the way you walk into a room, the way you carry yourself, the way you respond instead of react. And without even trying, you become an inspiration. Others see you taking control of your life, and it plants a seed in them that maybe, just maybe, they could do the same. It's not just about being more energized or more focused. It's about becoming the kind of person who raises the standard for everyone they touch. When you dedicate an hour each day to your own growth, you bring more to the table in your relationships, your career, your community. You have sharper ideas because your mind is clear. You have deeper patience because you're not running on fumes. You listen better because you're not distracted by your own internal chaos. The people in your life get the version of you that is fully present, fully engaged, and fully alive. Not the drained, half-focused shadow of yourself that the world often settles for. That 1 hour is also where you build the capacity to give without resentment. Think about how often people burn out because they give and give until there's nothing left. They say yes out of obligation, but inside they're running dry. This creates frustration, tension, and even bitterness in relationships. But when you invest in yourself daily, you refill your own reserves. You're able to give generously because you're giving from overflow, not depletion. And that difference is felt. It's the difference between someone handing you their last drop of water versus someone pouring from a full, overflowing cup. The quality of your contribution skyrockets when you are full. The ripple effect doesn't stop with your inner circle. It extends into every sphere of influence you touch. At work, your improved focus and confidence inspire your team. In your community, your discipline becomes an example others quietly try to match. Even strangers feel it in brief encounters. This isn't about bragging or showing off. It's about the undeniable energy shift that happens when you take ownership of your life. People can feel authenticity. They can feel self-respect. And it gives them permission to demand more for themselves. Your 1 hour a day might seem small, but to someone watching you from the sidelines, It could be the push they need to start their own journey. There's also a practical truth here. Your results improve when you invest in yourself. Your career advances faster because you've sharpened your skills. Your health strengthens because you've trained your body. Your relationships deepen because you've worked on your communication and emotional awareness. All of these improvements radiate outward, creating opportunities and connections that would never have existed if you stayed stuck in the same cycle of self-neglect. People are drawn to those who are growing because growth signals potential, and potential is magnetic. That 1 hour makes you magnetic. And perhaps the most profound ripple is this. You start breaking generational cycles. You set a precedent for your children, your siblings, your friends. You show them that self-care is not selfish, that boundaries are not barriers, and that personal growth is not optional, it's essential. You plant the belief that life is not just about working, pleasing others, and collapsing at the end of the day. It's about building something meaningful, and that starts with building yourself. Your decision to invest in 1 hour a day for your own growth doesn't just change your life. It creates a legacy of higher standards that will outlast you. That's the kind of impact no one can put a price on. 1 hour might not seem like much when you think about it in isolation. 60 minutes in a day of 24 can feel insignificant, almost too small to matter. But that's where most people make the mistake. They underestimate the compound effect. 1 hour a day is 365 hours in a year. That's more than 9 full work weeks, dedicated solely to yourself. 9 weeks where you could master a skill, build a business, transform your body, or create something that outlasts you. Those who dismiss the power of a single hour are often the same ones who wake up years later, wondering why their lives haven't changed. Small daily actions create massive long-term shifts, but only if you commit to them relentlessly. When you give yourself an hour each day, you're not just using time, you're leveraging it. Every single hour compounds, building on the last, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable. The book you read today adds to the knowledge you gained yesterday. The workout you do today builds on the strength you developed last week. The ideas you write down today become the foundation for the project you'll start tomorrow. Time, when used intentionally, multiplies its value. But if you keep saying, "I don't have time," you're not just losing 60 minutes. You're losing the years of transformation those minutes could have created. This is why the most successful people in the world guard their personal time as fiercely as they guard their money. They understand that one focused hour is worth more than 10 distracted ones. They understand that consistency beats intensity when it comes to transformation. It's not about cramming 10 hours into one day and then burning out. It's about showing up for 1 hour every day without fail until the results are undeniable. And here's the thing. Once you experience the momentum this creates, you won't want to stop. That hour will become the most powerful part of your day. The one thing you refuse to sacrifice for anyone or anything. It's easy to think big change requires big, dramatic actions. But the truth is, most big changes are the result of small, consistent actions that no one notices at first. That 1 hour might not get applause. No one may congratulate you for sitting down to write every day, or for hitting the gym when you could be sleeping in, or for reading instead of scrolling. But months later, when the results are visible, and your life looks different, people will call it overnight success. You'll know better. You'll know it was built in quiet, consistent hours no one else saw. That's the beauty of this practice. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's about proving everything to yourself. Over time, that daily hour rewires your mind. You start seeing time differently. You stop wasting it on meaningless activities because you've trained yourself to value every minute. You stop believing the lie that life is something that just happens to you. And you start realizing it's something you actively build. You begin each day knowing you will do something that moves you forward. And that knowledge creates a sense of control and confidence most people never experience. You stop drifting through life and start steering it. The discipline of the hour becomes the engine that drives your progress, day after day, year after year. And here's the most powerful truth. What you do in that 1 hour will echo far beyond the moment. The book you finish could spark an idea that changes your career. The skill you practice could open a door you didn't even know existed. The reflection you have could shift your mindset in a way that changes every decision you make afterward. 1 hour a day doesn't just shape your week. It shapes your next decade. You may not see the results immediately, but every single day you show up for yourself. You are building a future that will thank you for not wasting the time you had. The question is never, do I have an hour? The real question is, can I afford not to take it? 1 hour for yourself is not a luxury. It's a declaration. It's you standing up to the chaos of the world and saying, I own my time. I own my life. It's the line you draw between existing and truly living. Because no one else will protect this time for you. No one else will fight for your growth the way you can. The world will always have demands. People will always have expectations. But your future will only have what you choose to give it. Every great transformation starts with a single decision. One choice that seems small in the moment, but becomes the turning point you look back on years later. This is that choice. 60 minutes to silence the noise, strengthen your mind, sharpen your identity, and step into the highest version of yourself. Not someday. Not when things slow down, but now. Today. While you still have the chance to rewrite the direction of your life. There will be excuses. There will be days you don't feel like it. There will be pressure to give that time away. And there will be moments when you wonder if it's even worth it. That's when you have to remember, every single day you protect that hour, you are casting a vote for the life you want. You are building proof that you are disciplined, committed, and unstoppable. Years from now, you won't remember the emails you sent or the calls you took, but you will remember the hour that made you stronger. You'll remember the hour that gave you clarity. You remember the hour that shifted everything. And when people ask you how you built the life you have, you'll smile and tell them the truth. I gave myself 1 hour a day, and it gave me everything.